Hi, this is Amy Mayer, and this video is created for you parents about Bring Your Own Technology. And here's my contact information if you'd like to get in touch with me. So what I'd like to do today is show you some different ways your students can use technology for educational purposes in their classroom. Most of these tools we're going to talk about look at ways to use all different types of technology in the classroom. So not just a netbook, not just a cell phone, but all different types of technology can be used with these tools. And when that's not true, I'll specify for you. So the first way I'd like us to look at today is that students can provide feedback. A big challenge that teachers face in the classroom is that often they really can't tell whether or not your students understand what they're talking about. So with tools like Poll Everywhere, teachers can very easily set up a poll that will show live results on the screen while students answer. So here's an example that we'll use in a parent meeting that we're having this evening, and parents will be able to text in an answer or put in an answer at this website right here, and we'll see the results live on the screen. The next way that students can use their devices in the classroom is just so simple, and we all do it all the time. Everybody who's tied to their device will use them to find information. Let's check out this little video clip and see how this can look in a classroom. Maybe not our classrooms, we hope not, but it certainly brings the point home.
Okay, all right, look, here's the point. Everybody, enough with the electronic devices. Turn them off, and no more of this Star Trek crap.
Sure, that's my hearing aid.
This is an actual hearing aid? I thought you were ignoring me this whole time.
What?
Sorry. Okay, everybody else, enough with the gadgets. Put them away.
But we need them.
Abraham Lincoln went through his whole presidency without a beeper.
What's a beeper?
Never mind. Okay, I am now banning all electronic devices, including laptops.
But we use them in all of our other classes. It's how we take notes.
Okay, hey, here's a wacky idea. You want to take notes? Use a notebook.
But you said no laptops.
That's correct.
A notebook is a laptop.
Shut up. Don't you see what's happening, people? The machines are getting smarter and we're getting dumber. Do you think any of these devices are going to tell you when Custer's last stand was?
$18.76.
That's right.
So if you'll remember, we were talking about students being able to find information, and obviously that's the case. We all use our devices that way all the time. Did you know that students can also use many devices to scan codes like this? This is called a QR code, and for long web addresses or complex web addresses, this can be a great way for students to get to websites. For example, they might use a QR code like this to navigate to their Moodle school homepage to be taken right to their own teacher's classroom without the time that it normally takes in class to navigate to a teacher's Moodle page. Another way that students can use their own devices is to learn new things. There are so many websites emerging for students to use to get lessons just like they were in the classroom. Obviously, we still need our fine educators to help students refine their knowledge, to help students guide their studies in the right direction so that they learn things in an order that makes sense to them and that works best for their brains. But sites like Khan Academy, which you can find online at khanacademy.org, provide literally thousands of lessons. You can see right here at the date the screenshot was taken, 3,200 educational videos, thousands of lessons for students to learn all different kinds of concepts that they need to learn in school. This is a wonderful way to learn, not because it gives our teachers a break, but because students can learn at their own pace. So if I have one student who learns things through an auditory visual fashion very quickly, that student can move ahead, and another student who needs to rewind a few times can do that. In the regular classroom with just one teacher as a lecturer, that's simply not possible. It's a great opportunity for what's called differentiation of instruction. This next site I'd like to show you is called TED Ed, and it's located online at ed BYOT.TED.com. This site has many highly refined videos for students to use to learn. I'd like to show you just the beginning of one of them so that you can see how sophisticated the animation is and how engaging the videos are. Take a look.
You probably already know that everything is made up of little tiny things called atoms. You might even know that each atom is made up of even smaller particles called protons, neutrons, and electrons. And you've probably heard that atoms are small. But I'll bet you haven't ever thought about how small atoms really are. Well, the answer is that they are really, really, really small. So you ask, just how small are atoms? Well, to understand this, let's ask this question. How many atoms are in a grapefruit? Well, let's assume that the grapefruit is made up of only nitrogen atoms, which isn't at all true, but there are nitrogen atoms in a grapefruit. Well, to help you visualize this, let's blow up.
So I think you probably get the point that this is not something that somebody made, one evening in their pajamas to teach students. This is a sophisticated animation that teaches students a complex concept that might be difficult to teach just using, let's say, a whiteboard in a classroom or even just a computer and a projector. So this is a wonderful resource we can bring into our classrooms. Let's talk about taking notes. So this is a skill that we're all familiar with from school also, but taking notes has really changed and gotten much more sophisticated. Using tools like Evernote, we can take notes that are pictures, we can take notes that are sounds, that are maps, that have geolocations, for example, and we can store all of the notes that we take automatically to our device and to a server in the cloud. So let's say we end up somewhere without our smartphone, we can log in on any computer and we can see our notes. We can also use tools like Evernote Peak, which you see advertised right here, to turn our own notes into flashcards. So that's a pretty neat option also. This is what Evernote looks like when you get your notebook filled up with lots of stuff like mine is. So it's a quite neat system. It also teaches us a lot about organization. Google Docs is another tool that we'll have available to us in Huntsville ISD. This allows students to take notes collaboratively. So unlike that old world where we're just taking notes all alone by ourselves and maybe not seeing what anybody else thinks about a topic, this lets us communicate while we take notes. It's a very powerful tool for learning and really helps things stick in our brains. The next thing that students can do on their own devices is read. And first I want to show you the most versatile reader that I know of that's on the market today. And this is the Kindle Cloud Reader. So I know that you've probably heard of the Kindle device, the Kindle Fire. The same sort of reading software that's on that device is actually available on all different kinds of phones and computers. So this is what it looks like when you have a library full of books like I do. If you have an iDevice, so that's an iPod, an iPhone, or an iPad, you can get iBooks. And this is a really neat looking way to read also. I think it's interesting how they actually used a wooden bookshelf to display the electronic books, which look like this when they're pulled up on the screen. It's a wonderful way to read and learn. I know you may have had to purchase a calculator for your students to use in school, or they may have had to check one out from the school. There are lots of different pretty sophisticated calculators that are available on all different kinds of devices. These are just a couple of screenshots I took from my phone, but many different devices have different calculators available in their app stores. Communication is such an important part of what we do in school, and I'd like to show you this one tool that's called Parrot. So probably you use text messaging, you probably even use it with your children, and text messaging is a great way for students to keep in touch with teachers and vice versa. However, it's not really safe and sometimes not advisable for teachers to give their phone numbers to students and for teachers to have students' phone numbers. So what Parrot does is work as an intermediary so that students sign up for Parrot and teachers text students through the website. So it's a little bit of extra level of safety for your students to use here, and they're not just texting out to a phone number, which maybe they get a wrong number. It's just not a good environment. So services like this can let us sign in. Students just text a code, and teachers and students can start communicating, and parents can join in too if they would like to receive extra notifications. Let's talk about planners. So every year we've probably been buying a paper planner for our students to use to keep track of their studies. That's not really a very realistic way to keep track of everything though now, is it? I know I don't use one for my job anymore and haven't in a great number of years. So let's look at some ways that we can use our devices to work as planners. So every device on the market today, or most everyone, has got some kind of a tool that you can use as a planner. It looks nice, it looks very organized, it's really easy for us to keep track of what's going on. So here's a Google Calendar that I made to kind of simulate what this might look like to a student. We can color code it. Makes it easy to see what's coming up, what we need to study for, and to be prepared. This is a long-term way for students to learn to plan as well. Let's talk about collaboration. We already talked about in our note-taking section how important collaboration is for learning. This is an environment called Animoto, and Animoto looks a lot like other social networking tools, but the difference between Animoto and other tools is that this tool is made for education. It is safe, it is confined to a single classroom with a single teacher, yet it has a lot of features that help students and teachers communicate with each other about academic subjects. This is a Google document, and Google Documents let students work together. We already talked about those in our note-taking section, but I wanted to show you what it looks like when multiple people are working together in a document. So here I'm typing on this top line. A teacher I know named Jennifer Rupert's typing right here. A technology coordinator is typing right down here, and an instructor is typing right here. So we're all working together in this document all at once. This is a powerful tool for learning. Probably the most important thing that our students can do with their devices is to create things, and that's where this tool called Animoto comes in. It's a wonderful way for students to express what they know. They can make beautiful videos using pictures that they've taken or found and concepts that they think of themselves. This is the most important reason why we need students to bring their own devices to school to supplement school-owned devices. I know that many parents have questions about classroom management. How is this going to work for my student in the classroom? Well, a teacher who I know who's been using Bring Your Own Technology for over a year at his campus says it really is quite simple. He has a lamp in his room. When the lamp is on, the technology is out and can be used for instructional purposes. He's always monitoring the classroom, walking in amongst the students, listening to conversations, helping, observing. When the lamp is off, those phones are face up on the desk. Now, there's some difference of opinion about whether we do face up or face down. His opinion was face up so that we see what's going on that phone. We're not receiving text messages from people outside school unrelated to what we're doing with our classwork when the phone is face up or on the desk. If it's in our pocket, we maybe can try to sneak it out and look at it, but if everybody's phone is out on the desk because we're doing an instructional activity that doesn't involve our own technology at that moment, then it's clearly visible to the teacher and everyone else in the room. I hope you've learned a few things about how technology could be used in our classrooms in Huntsville ISD. Please let me know if you have any questions or if any issues arrive that I can possibly help with. Thanks and have a great day.